controversial characters known to the Disventure community overall. You love her, you hate her, there's really no in between when it comes to Ellie, and I'm here to discuss her today. Hey everybody, and warm welcome to my channel, Alexa Disventure Camp. Today we are going to be deep diving into a certain little character from Disventure Camp Season 1, Ellie, who turns out to be my favorite character. Before we begin, a few things to note. The background footage is from Nation Cartoons, Disventure Camp's Season 1 scene pack. I credited the scene pack in the beginning of this video. Also do note that I'm not defending her for every action that she's ever done in this video. I made that clear in the disclaimer. I do just need to make that clear. Not every action she's ever done is going to be defended within this video. Doing a comparison to Rhea, because I think doing an Ellie comparison to Rhea is very interesting and shows why, to me, she's a much better executed character overall and much better written character than many other characters in Disventure Camp. And anyways, I'm just going to be deep diving into what the sections are. So for today's video, we're going to be, of course, beginning with the character deep dive and character analysis. Basically, we learn what Ellie is, we understand Ellie as a character, and we learn her motives more, understand her more as a character, like, of course, which I think is very important and very important to understand for, like, the defensive and especially the comparison with Rhea. And then next we're going to be going into the defensive Ellie, basically defending her for most, I will never stop highlighting the word most here, most of her actions in Disventure Camp Season 1. And then, I think that's very simple. And then we're also going to be going into the comparison for Ellie and Rhea. And at the time of this recording, actually, Ellie has been confirmed to be in Disventure Camp All-Stars, so do note that I'm just going over her in Season 1, so my opinions might be changed depending on how Disventure Camp All-Stars does play out. Oh, and also the conclusion. I know that's not many sections, but we've got tons to go over when it comes to Ellie, because she did last for 13 episodes and got a very large amount of screen time in most of those episodes. So let's just quickly dive into it, starting with our character deep dive.
Did you vote for me?
No, it wasn't me.
Thanks. I hope to see you soon.
When it comes to Ellie in episode 1, she barely gets any focus, and this is very understandable to why she doesn't. Other characters do need screen time, and other characters do need development when it comes to episode 1. But when I see episode 1 Ellie, the first thing I think of is Gwen from Total Drama. I think most people who watch Disventure Camp have watched Total Drama seasons. In fact, I think most of the audience is Total Drama fans for Disventure Camp, which, large community there. But in any case, I think the best way I can describe her personality, she's more of an introverted, she's more lonely per se. She will talk to you, of course, and she's very kind once you do get to know her. Very kind in the beginning, at least. Very kind to know her. But overall, she does not start conversations too often, however, she is willing to do so. In episode 2, we basically don't get either too much. We do learn that she does have a strategic side with her making an alliance with Alec, kind of. Or rather, more observant because she observes the alliance. I mean, it is pretty obvious that they do have an alliance, so. But that does prove that she does have a brain in there. In episode 3, we basically just learn that she's afraid of sharks, and we also learn that she does think Abby is a cool person. Again, in the earlier episodes, Ellie isn't the kind to get the focus because she doesn't need the focus. That isn't until later in the season when her arc really starts to pick up, in a sense. Episode 4 is very important to her, though, which might not seem the case, but we learn her passion. We learn a bit more about her, because in the past 3 episodes, again, we haven't learned much about her. What she wants to become, her motives for the money. When it comes to these types of shows, I like to know the motives of the characters, and it's very important for me to want to root for these characters, and it's very established very early on. I consider episode 4 very early on in the season, basically, that she wants to become a fashion designer, and she's been struggling really hard with the minimum wage jobs, just trying to pay the bills, which is a good layout for her motivations. She needs the money, which is very important and makes you understand her character a lot better, and we also get a bit more to understand more about her as a character and get to know her as a person, so to make her a bit more likable. Because to me, Ellie in the early on is meant to be just like a likable character, or a character you don't care about. So yeah, and then we move on to episode 5, which is finally when Ellie actually gets some focus. Again, episode 4, she does come into a trio with Fiore and Alec, and we see that she's a bit like, what on earth is going on? But fair enough, if I saw Fiore do that in front of me and I thought she was an innocent little child, I would probably react the literal exact same way that Ellie did. But in any case, episode 5 is when she actually starts to get some focus. In episode 5, this is when we get to see Strategic Ellie. This is where Strategic Ellie really comes out, which we get to see come to play. And also, more Gabby and Ellie. Biasums. But anyways, episode 5, we basically just start off with her eating breakfast, not much to really talk about there. Later on the episode, we just get to see her not want to, well, do challenge. Of course, she doesn't want to do it. And then she goes to get fish eyes and runs into Gabby. And again, they just have a really sweet conversation, and she's just lifting up Gabby's spirits and just like, yeah, you're cool, Gabby, I like you. And it's sweet. They're so wholesome. But in any case, we get to see a lot more of Ellie's strategic side, which I think is very important for later on in her story, because I think she's proven to be one of the most strategic Disventure Camp characters, which I know isn't saying too much compared to others, but I mean, she's done a lot in her time, which depends on how stupid some of it is, but still, point proven. Anyway, we get to see her be like, hey, I'll protect you if you protect me, Gabby, and Gabby's like, yes, Ellie, so much, and then she just gets right back to the work on the challenge, and Ellie also succeeds in her part in the challenge, and now we get to see her focus. Ellie, again, now is the deciding vote. This is the first time in forever that she's actually gotten a lot of focus. I love how it's like in the episodes 5, episodes 10, it's the multiples of 5 where, of course, Ellie gets these focuses. But in any case, we get to see that she decides to eliminate Ashley and Lil because she has the power. She basically has control over Gabby, who Gabby votes, because again, they're besties at this point. So she can basically decide whom gets voted at what point, and she has an idol. Ellie is too powerful. So she eliminates Ashley and Lil, which is not the smartest option known to mankind, no, but there's definitely going to be more on that in the defending Ellie section, because I feel like this move is considered dumb by a lot of people, which, like, I guess it partially is, but at the same flip of a coin, I don't think she should have... Eliminating both Alex and Fiore, in other words, would be very stupid and dumb. So I think that's the stupider option. At least she chose an option that's at least somewhat decently smart. But again, more on that in the Defense Ellie section. Episode 6, we don't get to see too much of Ellie, despite her being eliminated. Eliminated in quotes. Despite her being that way, she doesn't get too much focus. I think the focus is more shifted on Alec. But in any case, we get to be like, Ellie's like, yes, I'll totally help you, and she's like, I wouldn't. Which does prove the fact that she is willing to lie to people in this game, which is, again, is important for later on, considering what she does do in episode 10. Oh boy. And then, of course, she doesn't take the idol. That's the first thing we need to notify. Why did she not take the idol? It's a 50-50 chance. Her in the same episode said, you do the same for me, teammate. And she'd be like, no. Why does she trust Alex so much that she's literally willing to be like, nope, I do not need this idol. This is screaming plot convenience to me, so that is the only explanation. I'm sorry. But Ellie in the same episode, the fact that Ellie in the same episode is like, yeah, I would not do the same for you, Alec. Then why do you think Alec trusts you that much? I mean, yeah, she's like, he'll help you with the challenge, but he agreed to do that for everybody. He agreed to do that for Fiore too. And noting the fact that she's observant, as stated earlier with the obvious alliance that did happen, wouldn't it also be noticed the fact that Alec and Fiore have this obvious, like, thing going on, like, with friends and stuff? Like, I think that's pretty obvious to notice, but maybe Ellie looked it over, but to me, that's just screaming plot convenience, and I don't see any other way. Anyway, she gets quote-unquote eliminated in episode 6, and she flips to the teal team. When she flips to the teal team, she immediately explains it to the others, meets them, and just immediately is, like, trying to make friends. This is really smart strategically, and immediately she's got to do this, because she is, of course, on the bottom of this tribe, considering the fact that she did get voted out again at the end of the episode, and was only saved by Gabby's totem because of her social bonds. Ellie's social bonds is really what is the only reason she's made it anywhere near far in this game, and I think that's very understandable because social players, I think social immediately trumps physical gameplay in any day. I mean, yeah, true, challenges can keep you immune, but imagine if you lose once, you are so gone by the other people. But in any case, she does friends with Jake and immediately tries to help him out. It's a really wholesome friendship until episode 10, that is. This also proves that she's more rational in episode 7 because she's like, okay, Jake, you felt bad, but what about Tom? Think about what Tom felt, please. And it's really cool because I don't think this was her only intention, because I don't think Ellie was like, okay, this is cool, he's a cool guy, we can be friends or something. I don't think her only thing was to build trust with Jake, but that trust with Jake does help her a lot out later in the game. And honestly, if Jake did not trust her, she would have been out a lot earlier, because again, Ellie's social bonds is what carried her. With Gabby and Jake carried her through this game, because again, Gabby plays the idol in her. Gabby is the only reason Ellie is in the finale. That is the only reason she even made it clear to that fire. So little did Ellie know her bond with Gabby was so So he was spoke, quote unquote. But anyway, we move on to episode 8, and she's just in the background basically the entire episode. I mean, yeah, she gets to hang out with Gabby, but basically this was a Gabby focused episode. It wasn't an Ellie focused episode. And obviously they're going to focus on Gabby when she gets eliminated. But anyways, we also get to see Ellie becoming a bit less trusting of Jake, because Jake, I get it was between Ellie and Gabby, and of course she's grateful that she gets to stay, but also it's the fact that Jake was like so excited to vote off Gabby. Like, okay, we're gonna be voting off Gabby, at least we aren't voting you. And like, why didn't they even consider to vote Alec or Fiore, and they just voted out Gabby? Like, I get it. Alec and Fiore told you that they're plotting against you, but like, what? Oh, whatever. Why don't you vote Alec? I guess he's just playing his under the radar game as usual. But anyways, in the back of her mind, Ellie is angry at this. Obviously, we get to tell that by episode 11. She's just like, you voted off Gabby, Jake. Don't you know how that made me feel? That's what she's kind of like when she's like making her episode 11 speech, which a lot on that later. Oh dear, that's an entire ballpark to unpack. But again, it isn't really. Episode 9, she also just does not get focused. Ellie is not really that majorly focused character until like episode 10 and 11, where it's just like Ellie's the main character, guys. Again, welcome to her screen time. Episode 8, 9, she just gets eliminated early on in the zombie apocalypse. Also builds her bond with Miriam and Tom, which is again very important for later on. I really did like Tom and Ellie's friendship. I thought it was really sweet, but that's not the point of this. She just builds bonds, and then she talks with Tom about the vote, and of course she sides with them to get a bit of revenge on Gret for Gabby, and I just think that's sweet and wholesome. But anyways, episode 10, oh my gosh, we're finally at this road. Okay, so of course she's just struggling with the challenge, and then we see her talk with Alec, and it's like, okay, you're gonna eliminate us, but after that's done, you are gone. And that is completely and utterly true. Miriam even admits this factor in episode 11. Again, there's a lot more on this. I'm just going to be diving into her character and her motives here because, again, I'm defending her for episode 10 later on. But still, we get to see that she's, of course, doing the challenge, she's slaying, and then she just drops all her necklaces. She also learns that Tom has a totem, which I think also pushes her more towards this path of villainy, because she's just like, okay, Tom not only has a totem, so I can't even save myself unless I get immunity. And also, we get to see from her motives later that she's like, I came here to change my life, and I'm not going to stick for 4th place. Again, more on this later, because I can't defend her that much, because there's an entire section dedicated to that. But in any case, we just see her lie to Jake, and she does feel very guilty while doing it, showing that at heart she's a good person, but she is willing to play dirty for the game if it means changing her life for all the better. Although I am curious to know if she's become a fashion designer now, given her All-Stars design. So did she still get her dream? I guess she did. I don't know. Her ending is very confusing as a character in season 1. Anyways, episode 11, we get to see that Jake despises her guts, obviously. And then we get to see that she's trying her best to apologize to Jake and make him forgive her because she's like, I'm so sorry, Jake. I just had to do it for the game. And we see her continue to try and apologize, even saving his life. She did save his life, and I get it's the morally sane thing to do, but when Jake still continues to like rant to Ellie, like, I wish you never existed after she just saved his life, I mean, I think she would be kind of offended at that. And then she's also just like girl bossing anybody who did her wrong, including Alec being like, haha, no more rope for you, Alec, and just runs off to get some revenge, which he kind of did deserve, being real here. And then there's not much more to state on Ellie in episode 11. Her and Miriam do talk a bit, and she does show a lot more apologetic, and again, we do learn that she was completely right when she said, I'll be just force. And yeah, she could get immunity, I'm not denying that. But to be fair, she's against Tom, who is an ex-spy and now a cop in the future. Yeah, I think he's not going to be the easiest person to beat in the challenge, even though she is good at challenges. Anyways, Jake is voted out. Episode 12, she makes an alliance with Miriam, showing the fact, again, her strategic side. Ellie, again, is more sidelined this episode, still getting the focus, but she, again, throws all the challenges so she can get Alec out. and get a better spot in the finale with Miriam Fiore. She just didn't know that Miriam Fiore made an alliance behind the scenes, and so she got screwed over. And in episode 13, this just hurts to talk about. She got out because of a fake heart attack. Oh my gosh. She had to choose Gabby as the helper, which is iconic, because Gabby and Ellie interactions are amazing, let's be real. And then that's just her arc ending. That's everything we get to see from Ellie. So to summarize, basically, she has a more introverted personality, is willing to get strategic, and is willing to play dirty. But now I need to defend her actions. I say most actions because some of the things she said in the speech we can now finally analyze in the defense section, so let's just get into that real quickly.
Did you vote for me?
No, it wasn't me.
Thanks. I hope to see you soon.
Alrighty, so for the defense of Ellie, we're going to be defending most things, and more specifically, more specific episodes, because sometimes Ellie just didn't get the focus she needed and just did literally nothing wrong. Like, if I were to defend her in episode 3 for being like, you faced your fear, Ellie, good job, that's like, okay, what am I defending? Of course, she's fine. She did great by doing her fear. So I'm just going to be focusing on episodes like episode 5, episode 10, episode 11, partially in episode 12, because episode 13, despite being in the finals, Ellie got basically 0 focus, which, like, I mean, okay. But anyway, we're gonna just quickly move on to the episode 5. So episode 5, I'm more so focusing on the end where she voted off Ashley and Lil. I get it. Ashley and Lil might be your favorite characters, and I do get that perspective. I do. When somebody gets my favorite characters out, I am kind of saddened. But at the same flip of a coin, if you were in Ellie's shoes, what would you do? I mean, you would probably do a smarter move, maybe. But getting out Alec and Fiore, the two people who have been by your side this entire game, it feels stupid. If she sticked with Lil and Ashley, she would have, yes, she does have the totem, but why not be a safer bet and not have to use that totem so she can keep it for later and just keep Alec and Fiore in game? Again, I do think a smarter option would be if Ellie had just eliminated one from both sides. That way she has complete control of the team, because there is no way, let's say, Fiore and Ashley would make an alliance behind the back of Ellie. No way, Jose. They hate each other. That is not only smart, and she never has to use the totem, ever. All she has to do is eliminate one of Fiore or Ashley, whoever she trusts less, and as she stated, like, Fiore, she trusts more or whatever, depending on who she eliminates. Again, she'd probably just keep whoever was left of the villain trio. And before you say, well, they know of Gabby and Ellie's bond, so they'd figure out that Ellie had eliminated one of the following. No, they didn't. No one knew about Gabby and Ellie's bond because they were forbidden friends in a sense, you know? And it's just like, there was, of course, smarter options for Ellie. I do get that. I just explained one of the smarter options. But at the very end of the day, she did what she had to do to stay in this game. It's $1 million at a point, you know, and it's voting out. It's a part of the game. Eliminations are a part of this game. It's required for a game like Survivor or Disventure Camp. So yeah. And then we move on to episode 10. Oh, this is gonna be a doozy. I'm already knowing this already. Okay. Ellie has been shown to be strategic, and we know that she has motives for the money. Yes, she did lie. Yes, she did. But she had to do it in order to stay in this game. Imagine if she didn't lie, and she just sticked with them to the very end. The totem is gone. She can't save herself with the totem. And as stated earlier, I don't think she can win immunity against Tom. So she's screwed from the start. And although you might say, well, Miriam, Jake, or Tom might sacrifice for her, heck no, they wouldn't! Miriam is like, okay, you would be 4th, and she admits it in episode 11! At the very beginning, she's just like, okay, you would have been 4th. She admits to it. And was this very messed up for her to do? I'm not defending her overall action. It was very messed up of her to do, and maybe there could have been another way. But what other way was that? What other way could she have split up this trio except lying to Jake? And yes, I do get it. The lie is very messed up. And honestly, it is kind of stupid that it worked. The only reason it worked actually was for Jake's sake. But still, she did what she had to do to stay in this game. She's been struggling her entire life. She came here with a mission. She came here to fix her life from the minimum wage jobs she had. And she is not going to let herself get 4th automatically, even if it means siding with the people who betrayed her. Even if it means going a route she does never want to go down. She has to do it in order to earn her money and change her life. She's not going to forget that beginning goal that she had. Kind of like Rhea, but again, there's a Rhea comparison later in this video, so we'll just be moving on. So she had to do this. Even if she didn't want to, she needed to lie and figure out a way to stay in this game. Now, let's say that she just sticked with Alec and Fiore to the end of the game. She just sticked with them and never sided. Yes, that's only one placement higher, and yes, she only does get one placement higher. But first off, how is she ever going to predict that Miriam would fake a seizure and that would be the way she was going to end? I don't think... Oh, right, it's a heart attack. Still, how do you think that she was going to predict that? I don't think anybody could predict that. And yes, she is against a dangerous duo, but I'd much rather be in a 2v1 than a 3v1. So still, I do think Ellie had to do what she had to do to win the game. She has to do it. There's $1 million on the line. The changing of her life is about to happen. She's been struggling for how long? I don't know, but this could change her life for so much of the better. And if she does have to ruin a friendship for $1 million, as bad as she'll feel for a bit, the $1 million will solve her problem in the money department. Plus, she still has Gabby, so there's that. Episode 11. Oh, here we go on this rabbit hole. So at the beginning of episode 11, we see Ellie being very remorseful and apologizing, which she should be doing, because what she did very last episode was very messed up. Oh, I need to mention this real quick. I completely forgot. Somehow this slipped my brain. Did Ellie know about the trauma? I don't think Ellie knew about Jake's trauma. So I did rewatch the few episodes of season 1 that I remember had mentions of this. I don't think she ever figured it out. So here we gotta go. Miriam and Gret knew about this because both of them overheard Jake. Well, Jake was talking to Miriam directly, but you get the point. Miriam's not a snitch. She ain't gonna snitch about Jake's trauma. She never will. We also know Tom knows it from episode 7, or was it episode 8? Whichever episode that Tom got fired. I cannot believe I'm forgetting this off the top of my brain. Anyway, so we know that Miriam and Tom know. Now to Gret. We know that Gret told Alec and Fiore. We know this. So, but would Alec and Fiore tell Ellie? I don't think they tell Ellie at this point. At this point, they're enemies. So Ellie would not know, unless Jake told her in private, which I don't think he ever did. It's never directly stated to Ellie on screen that, yes, I have trauma. She never knew. It's just never stated that she knew, so you're basically left to assume for yourself. So, by what I've seen on the show, I do not think she knew about the trauma, which pushes it further to the fact she did not know about the trauma, and therefore, again, it's still very messed up, and she shouldn't have done it, but she had to do what she had to do to win this darn game. Anyways, back to the episode 11. See a conversation between Ellie and Miriam, where Miriam, again, does confirm that, yep, you would have been next, And Miriam makes a great point. I don't care that you eliminated Tom, I understand it's a game, but you should have done it in a way where you couldn't have hurt anybody. And Ellie's like, there was no other way, Miriam. I'm sorry. What other way could there have been? Could she have, stolen Tom's totem? That's a pulling out of the book of Rhea. But I don't understand how she could have. How could she have known where Tom was going to place the totem? And it would be very suspicious for her to just walk up and be like, okay, Tom, where's your totem? That is suspicious on so many levels. And Tom does have a brain cell, I know. If it was Jake, I would believe that she could manage to take the totem, but since it's not Jake, I don't think she can. But anyways, later on episode 11, we see that she's going down just going alone, and then she runs into Alec, just ditches him, which I think is very fair considering all that Alec has done for her and has voted her out of $1 million, something that could change her life. So I think this revenge was very much deserved on Alec's part. Maybe that's just me. And then we just move on to her just strutting, and then Jake just falls on her. Ellie, of course, is like, are you okay, Jake? And Jake's like, oh, it's you, please go away. And then Ellie's like, okay, follow me, I have a flashlight, all that, and then Ellie does save Jake's life, which again is the most morally sane thing to do, but she could have just run off, and she did save Jake's life because she still does care about Jake overall. And we just move on to Jake just ranting to Ellie about how much he hates her and how he wishes she never existed. Jake? What the heck? Look, I get it. What Ellie did say next is very messed up. But the fact that you have been ranting to her for 2 hours about how much you wish she never existed, even though she just saved your life, Jake, what is that? So we just flip to this next scene where Jake's like, maybe I'll forgive you. He's trying to manipulate Ellie. That is the worst excuse of manipulation I think I've ever seen in my life for Jake. What the actual heck, Jake? You really think she's gonna believe you? She has more brain than you. I think anyway. And then the speed show, how fun. This was the stupidest thing by Ellie to do strategically. We've seen how smart she is strategically. So this, to me, I get it. It's meant to be her, girl boss moment. But, no. Go up there, climb the darn ladder, win immunity, and save yourself. Don't do this. Don't be ranting to Jake as mad as you are. Which I do think that Jake deserved to be shoved down. Now, the first line that she says, I will not repeat for obvious reasons, but that is way too far, Ellie. Look it, I get it. Probably Jake's been ranting to you the same thing, but that does not mean you say the same thing right back to him. Next part of her speech, I do think that she is stating decently facts. The fact that you are a sponge for drama is partially true. I do think it is partially true due to the fact how much drama does surround him, and he is the cause for this drama. I mean, if he had never, Tom at the beginning, then none of this chaos would have even ensued partially, and it is his own fault for believing Ellie's lie. Ellie did create the lie, but Jake believed the lie, and that's how all this drama caused. So he basically caused it upon himself. And then he also states, you victim blame yourself, boo-hoo. And it's she's right. I'm sorry, but she's right. In every circumstance, the first thing that Jake says is that one of his traumas, and I don't understand what it's like to go through that, and I'm sure it's horrible to go through what Jake went through. However, that does not mean that you can use it for an excuse of every single action you ever do. You can't just use your trauma as an excuse for every literal action known to man. Literally, everything he's ever done is defended immediately by his trauma. And again, I don't know what it's like to go through that. But I don't think you should use it to defend for every darn action known to mankind. And then the speech is I'm sure Tom saw it too. You have no right shaming me. You voted out Gabby, and you have no reason to pull this on me. Which, that is kind of true. I mean, he did vote Gabby. However, Ellie, what you did is a lot more messed up in the very end of it all. It's just, that is the worst defense I think Ellie could really bring herself to give. Yes, she did vote Gabby out, and yes, that's absolutely a reason to be mad at Jake. However, using that as the defense for using his trauma, Ellie, no. I do understand that she's just angry at him for that. However, using that to defend herself over what she did in episode 10, I don't think is fair, because yes, she did not vote out Tom. So I don't understand how this is in any ballpark, a fair defense for what she has done. And then the last line, Ellie, heck no. Just no, Ellie. I cannot defend her for that. That is extremely messed up. And is Jake one of the most annoying persons on earth? Yes, he is very, very annoying. However, that last line is not to be taken good. This speech, I get it's probably meant to be her girl boss moment, but a lot of what she says is just not good defense, or is just highly messed up, and Jake does not deserve it. Because Jake, for the past 9 episodes, I say past 9, meaning episode 9 to episode 1, around that area, he's a good, likable character, and in the last 2 episodes, just turning him unlikable so Ellie can just do this. It makes no sense to me. This entire arc's a mess. But episode 11, that speech, I do like parts of it, however, other parts really could have been replaced, which Gabby's voted out, a better defense mechanism, and just removing the last and the first line, because, no, Ellie, no, and no. Now we can move on to episode 12. I've seen for decent amount of hate for what she's done online when it comes to what she did in episode 12, which to me I think is very unfair. I completely understand for hater for what she did in episode 11. I completely get that. It was very messed up, and she should not have done that in episode 10 included. However, hating her for just being strategic and throwing the challenge to get Alec out, I feel like just no. And the main reason is because I think that she had to do this. Yes, I get it. Let's say that Ellie did try to win with Alec and just votes off Miriam. She's against one of the most powerful duos in Disventure camp history, because in this alternate universe, Fiore never voted out Alec, and therefore Alec would still view Fiore as a daughter figure, and therefore would do everything he can to keep Fiore in and get Ellie out. And not only that, because Fiore is a lot less of a physical threat when it comes to the challenges, so he can easily win the $1 million. Even if he's divorced and everything, he still gets that check. So basically, and plus Alec has been proven to be the best physically still left in the game, and therefore that can really just not help Ellie. She's at a major disadvantage if she stays with Alec and Fiore. However, if she switches and gets Miriam Fiore to the finale, that's a lot better of a chance. And I get that she still gets third. I get that. But how on earth, point still proven here, how on earth was she supposed to predict that Miriam would fake a heart attack? I don't think really anybody could predict that. She didn't. No one could. I mean, who would have thought Miriam would do that? That's extremely a character for her. But anyways, she has a much better chance if she's against Miriam Fiore physically, and it just works better for her overall. So of course she has to throw these challenges. And I get it's risky. How is she supposed to know Fiore? Well, little does she know plot armor is on Ellie's side. On her side. No, but in all seriousness, he had her options and saw that going with Fiore and Miriam would offer a lot higher chance at the money. What needs to be clear is that Ellie is a very money-driven character. Her motives drive her to do the things that she, of course, needs to do to get that money. She needs that money to change her life and ultimately live a better life than she does right now. And so she's willing to do anything and everything to get a hold of that money. This is so important to note because everything that she does is related to how she can get that money, and this action is also included in that. And I get if Alex your favorite character, of course you're going to be mad that Ellie throws, but it's not Ellie who voted her out. Him out. It was Miriam and Fiore, and I get Ellie does help them completely and does throw challenges and helps them win it. And she is kind of indirectly and directly responsible for Alex's elimination, but still, that gets a huge threat off of her back and she can just win. And as I stated earlier, and I'll keep saying, how was she supposed to know that Miriam would fake a heart attack? I don't think anybody would know. Oh dear. Alright, now we can move on to the Rhea and Ellie comparison because I think it shows a lot how she's a much better executed character and also shows why I like her so much.
Did you vote for me?
No, it wasn't me.
Thanks. I hope to see you soon.
I get it, these two are very different characters and their motives and things like that, but one thing they do and have in common is their basic arc and how it is executed. I think Ellie's arc of becoming hero to quote-unquote villain is a lot better executed, because we get to hear motivations a lot more. We get to see the build-up a lot more, and I get it. They want Rhea's plot twist to be a lot more less seen, and of course, I get that. But the thing with Rhea is it still feels like a 180 switch from her character. With Ellie, it doesn't feel like a 180 switch from the beginning because we know from the beginning she's very money driven and she's willing to do whatever it takes to win. This is again very important to note to her character because, well, that is the reason she does the things she do, and that is why it's understood why she turned to this. It's not out of character for Ellie to go for this route because of how money driven she is and how much she's willing to go for it all. With Rhea, it feels so out of character because that isn't the Rhea we've grown to know. That's why, to me, Ellie is a lot better character because it's a lot better established early on that Ellie can have this change. But with Rhea, it makes no sense for her to have that change. And although there is hints to her dark side, it's not built up to properly, if that makes any sense. But also, I love the idea of the Rhea arc. So much going for it, however, it's the execution that breaks it. And with Ellie, she has such good execution in my eyes because the build-up is there, you understand her character, you understand her motives over the episodes, and even without the focus, you understand that she's strategic, she's willing to go for these routes, and it isn't the biggest shock known to mankind. And I get it, having a shocking plot twist villain might be cool, but when it's out of character, it just makes no sense. And I don't feel like Ellie's character was completely sold out for the drama. I think it makes sense. I think Jake's character was the one that was really sold out for the drama. And I just really like how, and I love, since that potential, I feel like that potential for Rhea's arc anyway was used on Ellie. And once I see it in action, oh my gosh, I finally get why people love Rhea. Ellie is giving Rhea vibes. I will keep on saying this because that arc is just so Rhea-ish, if that makes any sense. And I just love to see it, and that is mainly why I adore Ellie too. I also love the fact that she's more hero, anti-hero, and, well, villainous too. But anyways, I know that's such a basic comparison when it comes to Rhea and Ellie, and I could definitely dive deeper in, but I think I want to wait until we get the All-Stars because both are in All-Stars, both have been confirmed. Rhea's design, by the way, is some of the best designing I've seen. Oh my gosh, I love it. Mainly waiting to see how the two interact because I think that'd be very interesting and also really make Ellie a different character. I'll probably update this video or maybe do another Ellie character analysis once All-Stars is finished. Again, depending on how she places. If she's pre-merch, we might not be getting another video, but then again, there is 21 episodes. Who really does know? Anyway, on to the conclusion, guys.
Did you vote for me?
No, it wasn't me.
Thanks. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, that is my view / opinion on Ellie as a character and also my character analysis on Ellie. What is your opinion on Ellie as a character? Definitely comment it down below. I'd love to read it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day / night. Bye!